Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Showbound podcast. I'm your host, Michael Raskin, once again joined by Ethan Cardwell of the Barrie Colts. Cardsy, how's it going, man?
Doing good, Rask. Super excited to get back on and publish another episode for the fans.
Yeah, so for those of you listening right now on the Spotify Apple Music version, you can't see this, but if you go to the YouTube, you can check out Cardsy's new backdrop. He's got the jerseys hung up behind him. He's got the podcast mic now, and he actually got chirped on YouTube comments in the last episode for just having the ugliest wallpaper I've ever seen. Can you just explain, Cardsy? Because I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to be rude or anything. But what the hell's with that wallpaper, dude?
Dude, it's my mom's. It's girly. It's dust, I think, too.
Is that your bedroom?
It's not my bedroom. It's in the office, up in the upstairs office. I told her it's not a good look, but I mean, what do I know? And I guess, but yeah, I get ripped in the comments, so I'm like, well, got to change it up now. And so we got a couple jerseys. You got the minor midget jersey and the repping the Colts jersey in the back. And yeah, cleaned up my setup. Got a nice new mic, courtesy of my aunt actually. So thanks to her. And now we're rolling. We're big time.
Yeah, you look like a pro. So, we have another big episode this week. We got Ryan Suzuki, another former first overall pick in the OHL, continuing on that trend last week with Quinton Byfield. Suzuki is also a first round pick of the Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL. He went 28th overall in the 2019 draft. Most importantly, he's Nick Suzuki's brother. So,
little dagger.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he's a phenomenal player. Someone I got to know in Barrie this year, and actually Cardsy was in the trade that sent Suzuki over to Saginaw. So you guys never played together, but you were in the same trade. You just want to talk about that? Do you know Suzuki at all?
Yeah, actually. So I met him. So Boots and Hearts in 2018 or 2019, whatever, going into last season was. So met him there. And then so we kind of became buddies through a mutual friend in Aiden Pruder and Mason Millman. And then throughout that, just met him a few times, hung out with him during last summer as well. And then, yeah, so it was kind of weird. We've been texting about the trades and stuff. And he texted me, goes, I'm pretty sure he texted me and said, I'm coming to SAG. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're coming for me. So I'll see you halfway. And then sure enough, we ended up seeing each other halfway at the, I think a Wendy's drive-through. I was making my way to London, and he was going to hop on with SAG to play in Flint that night.
And that was the day that I met you. I remember showing up to the rink and seeing a couple new faces in London at the Bud Gardens there, and just said hi. And must have been pretty weird for you. I mean, we talked about the trades last week, I think, but you're hopping in that game. I know you said you knew like around 7 people, but you're probably looking around the ice and you don't know everyone's name yet. So that must have been little odd.
It was pretty weird because like I would be in the mix and stuff. I'd be like on the ice or like in sewer and something. I want to like talk to somebody, but like I don't really know them that well. So like, am I gonna call them like their nickname, or like am I just gonna call them their first name? It's just like awkward. Like I remember I was like beside Shredsy or something in sewer, and I think I called him Matt. I'm like, hey Matt, and it's like if I
That
ever
sounds
say
so weird.
no, I know, man. Like if I ever said that to him now, I'd just be like, what? But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a little bit awkward when you don't know the boys and like you're kind of a bit uncomfortable, and then you have to step in at the Bud Gardens isn't the best place to try to get your first win.
Yeah, I got a question for you that just came to mind. So like I said, that was the day I met you in London.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first impression of me?
Beauty. I figured you're a good guy. So like you were chill and everything. So I'm like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. He's a good guy. And then yeah, we became boys. So yeah, I think we were talking out front of the arena that day, or not out front of the arena, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just before we took warm-ups, I was like out there just looking at the ice, and then we started chatting.
Yeah, yeah. I remember we walked out of the dressing room and just taking a look. It's always nice to before the game when the lights are dim, look out at the Bud Gardens. It's a pretty awesome rink as everybody knows. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into a couple things before we send it over to Ryan Suzuki. Firstly, big last couple days in the golf world as the Masters was going down, and Dustin Johnson record setting 20 under, and he's the winner. So Cardsy, as our resident golf expert, you want to take it away here?
Yeah, no, I got you here. It was a good week, man. I know I was glued to my couch for the majority of the 4 days and just watching with some buddies when I could and my family. But no, amazing golf by DJ. I kind of thought he had it on lock after Saturday's round. Once JT fell like 5 back, I think he was going into the final day, 5 or 6 back. But yeah, with those guys up at the top, like um, who else was there? Cam Smith. I figured like they didn't have enough juice to be able to take DJ on, especially number one in the world. When he's dialed, he's on. So I mean, once that kind of settled, JT fell off a bit. I kind of thought and had a great idea that it was DJ's tournament, and obviously it's good to see him get his second major. Funny story, I was at his first major at the US Open in 2016 at Oakmont, which was pretty cool to see that one be won. And then obviously no fans this year at the Masters, but good for him. Super happy about that, as I'm a big DJ fan myself. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge golf fan in general. I only recently started getting into golf within the last 2 years, so I don't necessarily have any favorite players. But I did meet Dustin Johnson one time last year. It might have been 2 years ago at the Rogers Cup, the tennis tournament in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like hanging out. We were watching a practice. Like, it was a closed practice, and we somehow ended up sitting beside each other. So
That's
I
dirty.
got to say hi. We didn't really talk much. I just said hey and all that. But so I guess I'm a fan. Just I got to meet him, and obviously he's so good. But I want to talk about Bryson DeChambeau. Like a lot of talk about him as usual. A unique golfer, and obviously can pound the ball like nobody else. But I saw in the highlights. I just watched the highlights. I didn't watch the whole thing. But he was just so inconsistent, like shot to shot, hole to hole. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, dude. He came out a little cocky. He told everyone the course was par 67 for him this week, and obviously that proved to eat him up. But I think what he's doing is good. I don't know if he can keep coming out just publicly about everything he's doing, as it kind of bit him in the ass this week, and like he's getting a lot of hate online for it and whatnot. But he's a pretty unique guy, so I don't think he really cares. But no, he can hit it far, and when he's on, we saw at the U.S. Open, he gets an easy victory by like 6 shots. But this week, no, he was hitting everything left, like snap hooks, just stuff you wouldn't see, blading chips over greens, chunking chips, and just didn't add up for him at all. And losing golf balls and stuff doesn't help either. So all in all, just a tough week for him. But I think he's a good player. What he's doing could potentially change the way younger kids and a lot of the players are going about golf. Maybe just try to get bigger and hit it further, as it shows you do have an advantage. But no, I think it'll work out in the long run. We'll see how long his body can last, though. I don't know, with all this working out and whatnot, putting so much stress and tension on your body all the time.
Yeah, so you talk about him being out there kind of with his comments and stuff, but um, obviously it's unusual for the golf world. But do you think it's maybe a good thing? I know he's getting a lot of hate and he says a lot of like pretty dumb things, I'll be honest. But as a non-golf fan or people who don't like golf and they see this, it's cool to see a personality in the game instead of the usual responses. Do you see that side of it?
Yeah, for sure. It adds a little bit of excitement too. Like you see these press conferences and whatnot, whereas you see DJ in a press conference and he's just kind of like sitting there with it almost looks like he has no heartbeat. The guy barely even celebrated when he won. But yeah, obviously phenomenal player. And then no, it definitely brings some excitement and a little bit of tension around the clubhouse when you got a guy running around saying he's gonna dominate the course.
So let's get into the World Juniors camp coming up for Canada in a few days now. I know you wanted to talk about a couple COVID protocols and interesting things going on, how they're going to make that work, and we will talk about it a bit with Ryan Suzuki coming up. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, dude, I think it's pretty cool how they're going to be able to run with all the regular countries coming in and still be able to run a smooth World Juniors in the bubble, which will be a cool experience for the guys. And I know some of the World Junior players themselves actually got to experience the bubble before with their NHL teams. But I think Canada is a really good team this year. Getting Doc back really helps. A veteran guy hasn't played in the World Juniors, but he'll be a key presence for them. And then obviously we had Q on last week, and I feel like he'll be another key component for their for Road to Gold. And then Fets also for our first episode. And then as we mentioned earlier, Suzuki did get a invite to camp. I feel like he has a great chance to make the team as he's a high IQ player and they could use him. But it'll be an interesting year. I know they leave tomorrow. For the listeners, this is we're being recorded right now on Sunday night. So they leave Monday tomorrow, and fly out, and then they have to do a test when they get there, I'm pretty sure, and then wait for everyone's test to become negative before they can go to their rooms. And then it's like a bubble style, like they leave there, get their meals, go to practice, come back. A lot of like it just full hockey for the time being. But I guess that's what you got to do if it's going to run smoothly and give them the best chance of winning. But I think Hockey Canada does an excellent job with setting this kind of things up, so it should go pretty smoothly for them. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And, it was good to see the path that the NHL paved to make this happen. And I think it's going to be a lot easier on the guys being in the bubble than it was for the NHL players. You hear kind of the stories of how the days dragged on and it was harder and they're moving away from their families. But I don't think anyone on the team has a family. I don't think, I mean, no, yeah,
No,
it's funny. I only say that because most of the time you don't think of junior hockey players as having families and stuff. But obviously we know in Barrie, our goalie, Artur Silovs had his wife come with him, and he was only 18 or 19 years old. So you never know. But I think it's easier for the players to bubble up when they're not leaving loved ones or children necessarily. So definitely exciting. And like you said, I think Canada has a fantastic team and a great chance to win.
yeah, I think this year, especially with everything that's going on in the world and a lot of players being able to play that might not play before for all different countries. So it could be one of the most high end World Juniors we've seen in a while, and it'll give. I know Canadians love it, so it'll give Canada's fans a lot to look forward to coming up here this Christmas. And then, but yeah, no, I think they have a great team, and should have a good chance at gold again.
Yeah, and just to build off what you said, the eyes on this tournament are going to be, it's the only hockey going on in the world, really. Like in North America, I mean, there's
Yeah.
European leagues, but North Americans don't generally watch those. So at least in North America, there's going to be a lot more eyes on it with no NHL, and everyone's going to be excited to watch it. And people are going to be getting together cheering on the country. So I think it's going to be a really exciting tournament for the players. And obviously, like you said, with all the talent, NHL talent that wouldn't normally be available, it's going to be just a thrill to watch. So we'll send it over to Ryan Suzuki. But before we do, I just want to mention that we have our Bachelorette segment coming up after the interview, as usual. Big reviews on the last one saying that it went well and everyone's excited. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to be recording right after the Tuesday night show. So we have, the live feedback basically right after it happens. And we'll, you listeners listening on Wednesday are going to be able to, hopefully if you watched it on the night it aired, be able to relate and understand. But just a spoiler warning, if you don't watch it on the Tuesday, you might want to wait before watching the end. And with that being said, we'll send it over to Ryan Suzuki. All right, we're pleased to be joined now by Ryan Suzuki, Nick Suzuki's younger brother.
Oh, okay.
So Zook, what's going on? I know you're in the hotel now, about to fly out for the World Jays.
Yeah, we just came to Toronto. We got an early flight tomorrow, so I just thought it was a better idea to come down and just stay the night before we fly out.
Are you gonna introduce your roommate to our listeners?
Yeah, so I'm currently stuck with Mason Noman, fourth rounder of the Flyers. Pretty big deal, this guy.
Ugliest guy in the world.
Yeah, one of them for sure.
Cards is my shmee.
Shut up, Millie. What's going on though, Millie? We'll get Millie on the pod at some point here and down the road when he's back from World Jays. But yeah.
So let's talk a bit about the World Jays before we get into anything. Obviously, super exciting time for both of you guys. What are, like we were just saying before, everyone thinks you have a very good chance to make the team. What are your thoughts on the whole process coming up over the next month?
Obviously, it's not an easy team to make. Obviously this year, we got a bunch of NHL teams lowering their players down, like Docker and Cuzzy and those guys. Even Byfield, he could make the jump. So, it's going to be a tough team to make for sure. And Canada always has such a deep team. So, when you get the chance to try out for them, you got to show your best, and you can't take a day off. So I think I'm just looking forward to just kind of getting back into the competitive games and starting back up.
Yeah, for sure. And I know last year, I think you had a chance at getting invited, and obviously you had an injury. We'll get into that in a little bit, but you've been looked at from Hockey Canada for years now. You've competed at every age, every level in the Hockey Canada program. So yeah, we're both excited for you. I know all our listeners are excited for you. So it's it's pretty cool. So did you watch the Masters at all this week?
Yeah. I was rooting for DJ there, and he squeezed out a win there. But yeah, I watched a little bit of it. So I think
you have any money on him?
Cardsy could have been in that.
Yeah, realistically, probably, but let them have an easy win without me there. But you have money on it, Zooks, or what?
I just had $40 on DJ winning the first round.
Oh,
and he split one. I think he was tied with two other guys.
Yeah. So would the payout get cut in 3 or whatever?
Yeah, it was 1/3. Yeah.
Not bad.
I want to talk about just a really cool. You're a London guy, and I know that B Clutch, the clothing line, is from London. Just a really sick. Yeah, they're so nasty, and I used to buy a bunch of their stuff, and I actually just ordered a bunch the other day, but I follow them on Instagram. Like they have some unreal stuff.
I kind of noticed them. They were kind of reaching out to me and Nick when they were just kind of starting out, and me and Nick were both like, yeah, it's a unreal brand. We were kind of looking at it. The hats they just started out with hats, and I remember they were gonna hook us up with some hats, and they were at the Masonville Mall in London in the Lululemon, and we went and checked out their stuff, and they just sent us a couple of hats, and ever since then, I've been buying a couple things here and there, and it's just unbelievable, and just kind of I got to see how they started. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're it's funny you say Lululemon because they're kind of like a comparable. I think they're a little cheaper than Lulu, but they have that same like athletic material that's really, really nice.
Sure.
So yeah, for any listeners who want to check out B Clutch, go check out their Instagram or their website, and make sure you use the promo code Showbound at checkout, and you'll get 16% off. So promo code Showbound for 16% off. I'm telling you, B Clutch is where it's at. It's the coolest thing.
That's what it is.
So Zook, I have a question for you, and I might have heard you say this one before, but why do you wear number 61?
He's number 6, Rask. Wake up.
Well, he's 60. He's always been 60.
Go, yeah.
So my first year, I had a choice between 6 or 61, and I just kind of wanted a new number for kind of a new team, new start. And I think when I was in, I think I was like 12 maybe. John Tavares, right after the World Juniors, got traded to London, and he won 51 in London. So whenever I'd go watch their games, like he was always a player that I'd keep my eye out for. And I just remember I think it was House of Pink night there, and he scored the OT winner, and I was just like, wow, like this guy I want to be someone like this guy. So that's why I chose number 61.
Yeah, I just cards is ripping me.
Everyone says it's Rick Nash. Like everyone thinks 61, they just automatically think Rick Nash. But
yeah, so there was a good answer there, Cardsy. So shut up, man.
Or we take in the fact that Hadsy just ran Zook's show and just took 6 and Barry and said, find a new number, bud.
Yeah.
Both first overall picks, my dad.
So yeah, first overall pick in the OHL. And I asked this to Quinn and Byfield last episode, but as the first overall pick, you get that day where you get to go up before the draft, meet the media, meet the coaches, and be publicly announced. And what was that day like for you and that experience with all that attention on you? Probably your feeling of the most famous moment of your life at that point.
Yeah. I just remember it was pretty crazy. Like it happened so fast. Like I remember I was just practicing with the junior B team in London, the London Nationals, and
you were winning with the junior B team in London. I just want to add.
We won the Bailey. I don't know what the trophy is, but it's just for. I know it's bad, but I only played like 6 games with them in the playoffs, and then after I got drafted, I just kind of stopped playing with them so I could focus on playing with Barry. And so I just remember I was practicing with them, and it was like 2 days before the draft, and my agent called me and he just said, "How do you feel about Barry?" And I was just thinking in my head, and I'm like, they have the first pick. And I was like, yeah, obviously I'd go there for sure. And then like after that, it was just a whirlwind. Like I was up in Toronto, and then I was up in Barrie. It was pretty crazy. You know, I saw my name on Twitter. My dad was showing me it. I didn't even have Twitter at that point, but like Bob McKenzie was tweeting about me, and it was pretty crazy to see my name out there. So
Yeah, that must have just been an incredible day. And
yeah,
obviously you were on a successful team in Barrie that first year, and you had 44 points in 64 games that season. So just how did you find the transition in your first few games in the OHL, like through the preseason and then the adjustment for the first like couple weeks?
yeah. I just preseason, you know, it was a little bit easier. Obviously, you know, they don't. A lot of teams keep their younger guys in, try and get used to the pace. So preseason wasn't too bad, but once we got into my first game, you know, my first couple shifts, I was all over the place. I just remember I was just trying to skate as fast as I can and try and keep up, and moving the puck a little too quick and just trying to get it out of my hands. And then I think the second period, our team kind of blew up, and we I think we put up 6 or 7 goals in that period. So everything just kept going, and everything was going the right way. And I had a couple points that game, so it was good to start off my career like that.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to ease into your career for sure. But what you just said about like fumbling pucks and like trying to make plays like fast and stuff. I can remember like my first few practices. It's like it's so hard to like keep up to
Yeah,
the pace. It's just a
you
gong
just
show out there,
you
man.
don't want to mess up because
Yeah, you're
you're
scared.
not familiar with all the boys yet, and it's tough, you know, going to a new team and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
you just
I
want to do your best all the
mhm.
time and make everyone happy. So you just kind of give them a puck, even though you should just keep it.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Pass first guy when you're new to the team. And
Yeah.
I got a funny story that actually Millie was there for. So we're in SAG in my 16 year, and we're doing like this drill where like everybody has to come in and you shoot it from the hash marks, and you just have to hit the mesh. Like you just have to get it off the ice and get it in the net, and it can't like it's just got to go in. So like everyone does it, and then if everybody gets the shot, like you don't have to skate or whatever. So
Oh
this is like
no.
my third practice or something. Walk in, just rip one right over the net. So then I'm 16 years old, fresh to the team, and now I'm making all the boys bag skate. I just felt so bad, man, just sewering everyone.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Obviously it's hard anytime you make the jump to another level, but
Yeah.
at what point do you start feeling comfortable where you're like, I can skate with the puck. I'm not gonna, I have a little more time and I can make plays. Like when do you notice that?
Um, I don't know. I think you just need to, you know, get a couple. Obviously, like, you know, rookies, you know, they just want to score their first goal so bad. And you know, I was lucky enough to score in the first game, and I think after that, you know, you kind of get that confidence in your game, and you realize like I can compete with these guys and I can play with these guys. So I think right when you get that first bounce, you know, something's going your way, you start getting more confidence in your own game. And you know, some guys have that right away, right when they come in the league, and you can tell right away. And but some guys, you know, it takes them a couple games to get into it. So I think, yeah, you know, once you get a good bounce and you know you get that opportunity to play, and you know, things just take off from there.
So like I said before, that Barrie team you were on in your first year was stacked and full of great players. And you guys went on a pretty deep playoff run. Can you just talk about kind of the things you learned going on a deep run in your first season and the change in environment from the regular season to the playoffs?
Yeah, obviously, you know, regular season kind of goes out the window when you step into your first playoff game. So I think doesn't matter how many points you had or how many wins your team had. It just doesn't matter. So you just got to win 4 games, and it's a completely different style of game. You know, everyone's harder on the bodies, especially. And I remember Mississauga, they were giving Svetch a hard time, and they were really making it hard for him to do his thing out there. So you know, those guys kind of get targeted a lot more, and you know, anytime you can get a piece of a guy, you're always trying to put them through the boards, and it's just a completely different style of play from the regular season.
So heading into your second year, your draft year, I want to know, did you do anything different in the off season training wise to prepare you for that?
Um, I've been with my trainer for like 6 years, so you know, we've been kind of obviously working on the same stuff. You know, he works on being an athlete first, and he does a lot of hockey specific training. So, just been doing that, and I didn't do too much. I think I just took it a little more serious than I have in the past when I was younger. So, because obviously, that big year, you got to be prepared to show what you got and show them that you can play at the next level. So, you got to get bigger than when you're a little rookie in the league. So, obviously I knew I was going to have a bigger role the second year. So, I was just trying to get prepared for that.
Yeah. So your older brother, Nick, had gone through the draft being a first round pick as well by the Vegas Golden Knights. And how often were you talking to him throughout that draft year? And did you get any advice? And did he tell you about, like tuning into the rankings, whether you should read into it or not? Like, did you look to him a lot that season?
Yeah, I was texting him almost like after almost every game. So, he'd try and watch my games as much as he could. And then obviously I'd just text him after the game and try and go over some stuff with him. And then, he just said, don't look into the draft too much, because obviously it's just some scout and their opinion on you. So you can't kind of look into it too much, and you just got to focus on playing hockey first and not worry about what everyone else is saying. So, he just said play your game, and, obviously the scouts will see what you're made of.
Yeah. And that season you had a phenomenal year with 75 points, and you were on a weaker Barrie team. So, to put up that many points, and obviously you had a bigger role, it was a great season for you. And into the NHL draft, you obviously went first round to the Carolina Hurricanes. And before we get into that, did you have any, like, I keep asking this question because I want someone to give me a good answer, but did you have any interesting draft interview questions from GMs or teams? Like, did anything funny, any cool stories come out of that?
Most of them are pretty standard. They just kind of, it's always the same questions. Like you answer, like I remember at the combine, probably like you'd go into 7 meetings a day and you'd just be answering the exact same questions. And it was, so you'd get to know yourself a lot better. But I don't know. I didn't really have too many crazy questions. I just remember the Montreal guy, they had some mental performance guy, and he was like asking all these kind of weird like questions, and you'd have to figure out, I don't know, it was like something about like if there was a snake, if there might be a snake outside the door, who would go open the door? And it was the only exit or something like that. And
that's weird,
like,
man.
He was asking like, is it me because I'm the oldest? Is it you because you're the youngest? Or is it like, I don't know. It was messing with my head a little bit, but
I wonder what they look for. Like, I wonder if they have an expected answer.
They have like different, based on what you answer, it like means like different personality traits.
Okay. So there's no right or wrong.
No, there's not.
No.
Okay. I couldn't do these questions. I think I'd find a way to get it wrong no matter what. So yeah, obviously with the draft, you went, I think it was 28th overall. I should have this written down, but everyone knows you're obviously a fantastic player. Did you find that you went a little later than you thought, or like, how did it feel as picks were going by and you weren't picked yet? Obviously that first round takes a long time. Like, how did that feel?
It didn't feel great, waiting to the last minute, but obviously, Carolina, they believed in me, and it's an unbelievable spot to go. And, I was super excited when I got picked. I think it was more so just relief, because you're so anxious just sitting there, just waiting to get picked. And I just remember just like, I don't know, like the draft is crazy. It's nothing like anything I've been a part of. So like the OHL is a little different, you kind of have a feeling of where you're going to go, and, you talk to teams and they'll kind of tell you that they're going to pick you. So when I went to the NHL draft, I just remember there was guys like that weren't even on the rankings of like the first round that were going, and it was pretty stressful, but I ended up going to a great place, and I was super happy about that.
Did it slip in your head like, crap, maybe am I going to slip to the second round? Did that go through your head?
Yeah, obviously, it was getting close to the second round, and I had all my family there and friends and stuff, so I felt like I was going to let them down, but obviously they're all there to support me, whether I went first round, second round, third round, doesn't matter. So I think it was just a great day to be a part of that, and obviously go to Carolina.
Yeah, and so in Carolina, you had a great chance to in the camps and throughout the preseason to make the team, and you got to play a preseason game in Tampa. What was that experience like? Getting on the plane, literally, what was the whole experience from getting on the plane, flying down, stepping on the ice? Like, take us through that whole game.
Yeah, it was. That's the National League right there. It was. We drove right up to the tarmac and hopped on a private jet.
Not a big
Yeah,
deal.
it was pretty crazy. I was starstruck, but everyone else seemed to just be used to it. So we had a couple of the guys that were on the team from last year. So I just remember going on the plane, and they had a bunch of fans on the plane too. So they were all kind of giving you high fives while you walked on, and then we got off the plane, and they had actually on the plane they had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Whatever
they
you
had a
want.
nice little cheese platter too. And so I was just eating snacks the whole plane ride. And then we got to Tampa and got on a bus, went right to the rink. And, I've never been to a lot of this NHL rinks, so it was pretty cool to step in that rink. And I've only seen it on Chell 20. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. And then this is a pretty crazy story. I was pretty nervous, I was going on for warm-ups, and I look up at the board, and their first line, Steven Stamkos, and I was just I was blown away. And then obviously the first guy I see when I step on the ice, I look over, and it's just Stammer just cruising the red line, no Bucky at warm-ups. So that was a pretty crazy moment.
Yeah, that's when you made it. Like you look across and see him. That's got to be an amazing feeling and just crazy. So, how'd you do in that game, by the way?
Well, I broke my stick in warm-ups, and I only had one of them, so I had to use someone else's stick the rest of the game.
No. Wait, why is there only one stick? We just talked about how luxurious this show is.
The
Why they only
National
bring you
League.
one twig?
So I got I was using old Bowers, and then I got new ones. So they only sent me like the demos. So I only had one, and then a guy was using a similar stick to me, so I picked that one up. So it wasn't
Cardsy, can you imagine going to your first NHL preseason game and bringing one stick?
I didn't bring one stick. I had more sticks, but I wanted to use like a similar stick. So they were like, "We got these ones here." So
okay, fine.
Fair enough.
It was
It's
my choice. I had more sticks.
It's like Novice hasn't retaped it in like 3 games. Just
your
one.
blade's all cracked.
Yeah, just
You
battling
have like
with it.
this much of your blade left.
Use it for road hockey too.
Yeah.
Everything.
So this past season, we talked about before we interviewed or before you hopped on here that you and Cardsy got traded for each other. So how was that experience like getting traded?
It was pretty crazy. I was sleeping, and then I got a call from our owner, Howie Campbell. So he just kind of told me kind of what happened, and obviously they were going for a younger team, and kind of rebuilding for the future. They got a lot of good young guys like Cardsy. So so they were kind of sending me to a place where I could go for a deep playoff run. And Saginaw was obviously a stacked team last year, so they just kind of gave me that opportunity, and they were just kind of going for a different direction. And I just remember, it was kind of tough leaving the Billets. That was the Billets and your teammates and all the people I grew up with. So it was a pretty sad day, but it was also exciting to head down to Saginaw and reunite with Millie. So it was there's always good with new adventures.
Yeah, it's definitely. I obviously went through the same thing on the same day. It's kind of like it's weird. Like you say bye to the billets and stuff. Especially like I was really close with my billets there in Saginaw.
Yeah.
I heard you were the same, and like leaving your boys. And it's just weird. You go into the rink, like pack up your equipment. It's just like saying bye to the boys. Like some of them, like you may never see again. Like it's crazy to think, but like. It was a wild day, but you ended up playing in Flint that night. You guys win that game or lose?
Yeah, we won. What was it? Millie. Oh, he's playing COD. He's got his headset on. He can't hear me. Yeah, we were. So I left at like not totally sure. I got to Flint with like 30 minutes before the game. All the boys were done warm up, and I was just walking in street clothes with my bag, with my berry bag. Actually, I looked like an idiot.
Yeah, bro, that was me too.
With my
Same
berry
thing.
bag, and I was getting dressed, and all the boys were fully dressed, ready to go out for warm ups and new team, and it was a little awkward at first, but once you kind of start playing and you're talking to the boys on the bench, you kind of get a little bit closer. So it was easy. Obviously, all the boys in SAG cards, all the boys are great there, and
Yeah.
they got me in and made me one of their own pretty quickly.
I remember that night, man. Like I'm playing at the Bud because you would have had your hometown game that night.
Yeah,
and
all my family and friends had tickets to that game too. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I'm sitting on the bench at the Bud and it's whatever. Like I'm a bit like full of emotions and stuff from the day and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I look up at on their strip there along the concourse, and it gives you the scores of the games. And I see like end of the first, like I think like maybe like Saginaw 2-1, and I think in my head I'm like, yes, like way to go. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I cheering for these guys?
Winning.
Like, yeah, I'm like, we're winning. I'm like, no, we're not. Like, you don't play for them anymore. Let's figure it out. Let's go.
It was so weird.
Yeah, that's quite the adjustment. But obviously you fit in well, and I talked about it at the beginning, but you suffered a tough injury to your eye last season, and I want to know, how are you doing now? Like, it was a battle for you all year.
Yeah. It was pretty tough, it happened in Saginaw too. So a lot of connections with Saginaw here.
Yeah.
I just remember, my eye went pitch black and I couldn't see for a couple days. It was pretty swollen and stuff. So I just remember, for the couple months, I was thinking in my bed, late at night, I was so worried about everything and, whether I was going to see again, how it would affect my hockey career and all that stuff. So it was definitely a tough injury to have. You can see your arm healing, you can feel it getting better, and it was tough to sustain an injury like that. Obviously, I had no idea what was going on. The doctors were using these crazy words trying to describe it to me, and I was just kind of sitting there just trying to listen for words I'd understand. And I just remember thinking it was going to be a lot worse than it ended up being, but I had a lot of support and help, and we have great eye doctors in London, so they got me to where I needed to be pretty quickly.
So you're all good now?
Not 100%. I have a blind spot dead center, but other than that, everything's pretty good.
Okay. Do you get to take the fishbowl off this season?
Yeah.
Nobody does though. We're all gonna have them on this.
We might all have fishbowls this year, but I've been training with a visor, so it takes a year to fully heal. But obviously, there was permanent damage there, so but everything else is pretty good.
So when you got traded to Saginaw, your point production started to pick up, and I want to know, was it like a fresh start, or was it you playing with obviously great line mates? What changed?
I think just kind of having that new change of scenery, and obviously, having such a great team, we could put out our second line, third line, fourth line, and they'd all produce. And Barry had a younger team. I mean, they're all skilled players and stuff like that, but I think there's just more experience in Saginaw, and you could just kind of tell that we were an older team, and obviously playing with a guy like Perfetti, it's night and day. You just go to the net and put your stick down. So I wasn't made my job a lot easier.
With the Carolina Hurricanes, obviously, have they been speaking to you about their plans with you this season, whether you can make the team or like, have you guys had that conversation where they're at with you?
You just kind of, they don't kind of obviously give you, tell you if you're going to play or what they're going to do with you. They just want you to come to camp. And, obviously every time you go to camp, you kind of have that expectation yourself, just try your best to make the team and, kind of prove that you belong there. And, they always say it to everyone right at the start of camp, if you earn a spot here and, you work hard and you earn that spot, they're going to make room for you. So, Whether you're first round pick, second round, seventh round, undrafted, if you got to earn your spot. So, obviously with Brindamore, he works his guys hard and he gets the most out of everybody. So there's no passengers on his team for sure. So, everyone's got to take charge of their own effort out there and, compete for a spot every year.
We're joined now by Mason Millman, who's back after losing in the 10th round of Zombies in Call of Duty Cold War.
Not done yet. I just died.
Okay. Just paused it for us or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a couple questions. For those of you who don't know, Mason Millman, Ryan Suzuki, both on the Saginaw Spirit. And Cardsy, you can hop in here, obviously, with being a former Spirit, all the guys. But
All right.
between Barrie and Saginaw last season, I'm going to give you guys a couple questions. Between those two teams, who's the best and the worst chirper?
Danny Caddick, I'd say, is the best because he just says the dumbest stuff and he's just obnoxious.
Or he'll bark or just
Yeah,
start screaming at people.
Random stuff. So I like it. It's funny for me to watch. I'm sure the other team just gets so annoyed at him. He's all over everyone's case every game, and it's hilarious.
Who's
Really?
the worst?
I gotta say, worst chirper has to be Cole Perfetti. His go-to is "you suck" and then skates away. So guy's not very original with chirps at all.
And he's just always mad on the ice.
Grumpiest guy alive, man.
Oh, yeah.
Always grumpy. Just he could have 7 points.
8
Just
points, and
not
he's
good
just
enough.
on the bench like this.
Just
looking
pissed.
He's like
So-
9 or 10 at least.
Yeah.
Who's the best and worst dresser between the two teams?
Duhart. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Duhart is the worst. Is the worst dresser, man. This you could just give him a year's worth of gitch. That's all he'll wear. Only gitch. Always gitch to the ring.
Pitch King.
Yeah, he is gitch king.
Brownie has good style. I like
Yeah,
Brownie's style.
Brownie does have.
Yeah,
good
Aiden
style.
Brown.
Bad hair.
Yeah, he does have the bad hair though. I mean, if he had better hair, be a 10.
He could be bad. Never tell him that though.
No, they'll go straight to his head. But I know Millie has some questionable style. He has some special outfits.
My flops are just disgusting.
How about does anyone have any weird game day superstitions?
Not that I can really think of.
Oh, nothing really. I figured we get something.
Man, I don't know. For me,
I remember my first year, Leo Lazarev, if you know who that is. He would do some crazy stuff. I couldn't even tell you what he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
He was moving around and just doing weird stuff during the national anthem, and it was crazy.
Goalie-wise, Provorov, our first year, he'd go out with a tennis racket and a tennis ball in a bare hand and would just whack a tennis ball off the wall and catch it in his bare hand.
His reactions were absurd.
Yeah, kind of weird, but clearly it works for him.
He's a loose cannon too, a bit.
Who has the worst signature on those two teams? I have my pick actually. I gotta say Artur Silovs. I've said his name before this show. He has the worst signature I've ever seen.
Just writes his name, eh?
Yeah, just Silovs, and then he puts like a line through it with no number either.
No number, just Artie.
Artie. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't pay attention.
Me either. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I guess that's something I'd notice more than you guys.
Yeah, you're looking at that stuff.
Yeah, I'm collecting them too. Who's the most likely to become a coach after you're done playing?
Damien Giroux.
Don Rooster. Yeah, I was just about to say. That's Damien Giroux, the Saginaw Spirit captain. Like he's on the boys. He's the most positive guy in the world too.
Oh yeah.
He'd be a good coach.
And last one, who's the biggest drill buster in practice?
Jake Goldowski. 100%.
Little name drop for Gato. Yeah, Gato 100%.
Gata gets his head in a swirl sometimes and forgets drills.
He can't take in that much information at one time. So.
No.
It's tough for him.
Oh, Cardsy, go on. All right, so Cardsy, you want to go over the fan questions here for Zook? I mean, Millie, you can stay if you want, but
you have some fan questions?
Yeah, we got a few mail-in ballots from the fans.
Oh, nice.
No fans for me, Carts?
No, when you come on, we'll get you a few good fan questions. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Millie?
Yeah.
Here we go. Fan questions from our Insta.
Right.
To the fans, just keep sending them in every week with whatever guest we have. Really appreciate it and makes it a lot of fun. So starting out growing up, who was your favorite player?
Probably Sidney Crosby. Pretty mainstream answer, but
Yeah.
I just remember, watching him start out as a rookie and just continue to dominate every game. And one of my favorite goals was that shootout against Montreal when he just went backhand shelf and just absolutely popped the bottle. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
All righty. What's your pregame meal if you got one?
Probably like barbecue chicken and rice.
Okay.
And maybe some peas or some broccoli.
Next, if you could be any animal in the world, what would you be? This is a weird one.
I don't know. Probably like a shark. Nobody really messes with those guys too much.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, that is pretty good, actually.
Cardsy, what's your answer to that?
And I think it'd be cool just to float around the ocean.
Yeah.
See what's going on down there.
I'd probably be like a cheetah. You're so fast, man. Just buzz. Just
Yeah.
Dude,
hammer.
sharks are quick, man, in the water.
Yeah, sharks can fly. And they can muck anything in the ocean, too.
Yeah, cheetah would be sick.
All right. Next one is what's something interesting that not many people know about you?
I don't know. I guess I've been practicing the guitar the last couple of years. So
Can you sing?
No, I do not sing.
You can fire up your own boy band in London. Get
Yeah,
Millie in there.
I remember I was on my billets and T-Bone's a pretty good singer. And he was I was jamming on the guitar and he was just singing. It was hilarious. But
That's pretty good. T-Bone's an artsy guy. He likes the TikTok dances and he can sing.
Yeah, he's a TikTok boy for sure.
100%.
You got to find a way to get him famous on there. So
yeah. For everyone, that's T-Bone Cod of the Saginaw Spirit. Go blow up his TikTok right now. No free ads though, T-Bone. No free ads. Would you like to take $100,000 or take a 50-50 chance at $1 million? You might not get the million.
50-50. I mean, $1 million's life changing. I mean, you could make $100,000 just doing, jobs and stuff like that. So
fair enough.
I'd rather. I don't think I could sleep at night knowing I could have $1 million. So
this is also coming from a guy who does have some money in the bank account, being a signed NHL prospect too. But no, that's all we got for fan questions. So I think from my end, I'm all good for questions. If Rask doesn't have anything, then
I think I got one more since we mentioned it.
Okay.
Ryan Suzuki, big baller, a lot of money. What have you spent your money on since signing your contract?
I think the biggest thing was obviously my car. My dad actually got it for me, and our deal was, once I had enough money to pay him back, I'd give it to him. So
the Subi?
Yeah, I got a Subaru. So I drive a Subaru. Why don't you? So once I got that, I think I felt pretty good about paying that off and getting my dad back the money. So
yeah, that's
pretty good. That was the first thing I did.
You didn't get Gucci flip flops or anything?
Yeah, 100% you did.
I drove my brother's car back. He was getting a new car from Audi, and I drove his Jeep back from Montreal to London, and he bought me some Gucci shoes. So
oh yeah,
I was saving my money. Just pay a couple $100 in gas and get some nice shoes.
Yeah. I need to find a brother like that, man.
He knows how to persuade me. So
find a brother in the show isn't a bad idea, Rask.
Yeah. I mean that's all from me, man. Zuke, it was awesome having you on, dude. It was good catching up with you too. It's been a while, but
yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. So
yeah, so I mean, obviously from me and Cardsy, good luck this camp, and we'll be watching closely, and hopefully you make the team, and I'll be pretty fired up if you do. So
yeah, thanks, boys.
Good luck, man, and thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks,
dude.
Yeah, it was great having Ryan Suzuki on. Great to see him again, and obviously I wish him a ton of success in the upcoming month and a bit with the World Juniors going on.
Yeah, obviously a great guest for us to have on the pod here, following up our other first round picks as well. And it was kind of cool to get some insight on what it's like in the NHL, as he's now played in an exhibition game, as he told us about earlier. And it's pretty cool to hear about his career so far and how he's gotten to where he is.
Yeah, it's funny. I just can't even imagine stepping off a plane and you hop on the ice and you look across with Stamkos stretching with no bucket on. Like that's gotta be intimidating, man. But what a cool feeling for him. And we'll get into the Bachelorette now. So we're recording this on Tuesday night now. Cardsy and I just finished watching the latest episode of the Bachelorette, and it was the most drama-filled episode of the season so far. Would you agree?
Yeah, quite a bit of drama going on. A lot of tension in the house. We saw Ed and Jason battling a lot. A lot of nonsense going on, to say the least.
Ed and Chasen were kind of teased to go end up in the ring together all episode. Even last episode, they were teasing it, and everyone's kind of looking forward to that fight, I thought. And, last second, Ed backs out of the fight, says he has his shoulders could get injured, something like that. And I don't know if I necessarily buy it. He should have said something at the beginning of the night if that was true. I think he waited till he found out he was matched up against Chasen before doing that. Like, what's your take on that situation with the fight?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, I think he backed out because he was scared he was going to get it taken to him by Chasen. But I have no opinion. I don't really have any time for either of them. But another point in the show that I think we could talk about for a few seconds here is Noah hopping the fence and then shaving his mustache too. So I think he could be a new front runner here.
Okay, so I thought the whole time Noah kind of knew his mustache looked bad, and then I think he loved it, man. Like that looked terrible, and you can't go on a show like that looking to impress a girl and have that on your face. And I'll say this though, from a publicity perspective, it's got people talking about him. I don't know if that was his intention, but he looks a lot better without it, definitely. And yeah, I mean, bold move, hopping the fence and fighting Chasen. It was a good, like, incredible fight from what they showed. And I mean, I kind of respect him. You're in a situation like that, you got to do what it takes to win. So I think he has that fight in him.
Yeah, he definitely showed her, and I think it'll help him in the long run. But yeah, I think that was decent episode. I was pretty happy with it. Kept me on the edge of my seat with the teasers before commercials and whatnot. So I was overall pretty happy, and we'll get back to it next week, right?
Well, yeah, before we end up this segment, I just want to know, who do you think the front runner is right now in terms of winning Tasha's heart?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, Ivan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he could be a sneaky pick, a sleeper pick.
Yeah, he didn't get as much camera attention, and sometimes that's a good thing. So if I had to pick mine right now, I'd say Ben.
Yeah.
That guy, he's a charmer, man, and he's clearly there for the right reasons, and I think Tasha sees that. So yeah, that's my pick. And yeah,
just before we close, Rask, I just want to add for the fans, we do have an interesting story that I found out about Rask today, and I didn't know it before this episode was recorded. So I guess it's something to throw in for next week, and a little bit about Rask's career and kind of where he's been and what's going on in his career now. As it really surprised me, and hopefully you guys get a little surprise and maybe a little chuckle out of it too.
Yeah, that's a good teaser. We'll leave it at that. All right, and that just about does it. We'll wrap it up now. But before we do, I just want to remind everybody to make sure you check out B Clutch. I know most of our listeners are from Ontario, and they're a London, Ontario-based company. Just a fantastic clothing brand that I've been a fan of for years. I really love their stuff. So I definitely recommend it. And make sure you use the promo code Showbound for 16% off. Go check out their latest farm collection. I just got a sweater and joggers from that collection. It's phenomenal stuff. So check them out.
Yeah, it's definitely an elite company, and gives a chance for our viewers to support the local brands. And why not take your free 16% off using our promo code Showbound? But with that being said, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us today. And I just want to thank the listeners for tuning in for another great episode. And we're looking forward to talking to you guys next week.